Hi everyone, John here with a new Nikon KeyMission 170 and I'm shooting with the camera. Obviously I'm looking in the mirror so that you can see what this camera looks like. This camera is their new action camera. It's very similar in size to GoPro, and the mode that we're in right now is 1080 60 frames per second with electronic image stabilization. So let's take this for a walk and we'll see how it does. Again, this is 1080 60 with electronic image stabilization. I'll just go around, go out here into the plant, and I am trying to keep it as steady as I can with my hand. I think the image stabilization does a fair job. This camera is capable of shooting in 4K, but like almost all the other cameras, in 4K you do not have image stabilization. The way that they get the image stabilization is by utilizing all of those pixels, all of those 4K pixels. If you can imagine, the 1080 doesn't use all those pixels, so that 1080 screen can float around in that 4K area, and that's how they get image stabilization. It's complicated, but you can Google it and look it up. The new Sony, the brand new Sony Action Cam, brand new, I'm talking October 2016, I think it's the model 3000. I can't remember what they put in front of the 3000, but it's their Action Cam. It does have optical 4K image stabilization, but it's not like a GoPro. It's not the shape of a GoPro. It's a completely different shape. It is about the same price. So there you go if you like that configuration. But this is just an example of what this will do in 1080 60. This is fixed at 170 degrees wide. You don't have an option like you do on the GoPro. The GoPro has wide, medium, and narrow field of view. This does not. This is just 170. That's it. So you might notice that it is a little bit maybe fisheye. I think they do a good job in the very center. I can tell, like on the top and bottom and the sides, that it looks a little fisheye, but they are getting a pretty wide. I mean, obviously 170 degrees is very, very wide. That's nearly half of a 360 degree circle. So that's big. Seems like a nice camera. It's weather resistant with no case. You can drop it in water. Can't go deep with it. I can't remember if it's and you can look it up. It might be 15 feet, 30 feet depth of water. You can take this thing down to. I don't remember what it can go down to, but it's nice. I mean, it's like all the other new ones. It's like the GoPro 5. It's like the the Garmin has a new model now that looks almost exactly like a GoPro. Same thing with it. Don't have to have a case. It can go in water. But I just wanted to show you an example. Of course, we're not outside. It's dark and rainy out right now. That's why we're inside. But this may give you an example of what this does. I think the 4K image is also very, very nice on this. But, it's like, how often do we use that 4K image? I tend to shoot in 4K an awful lot, but yet if you go to YouTube, typically most people are going to view it at 1080 or even 720, and that's the nice thing about the image stabilization that we have now in 1080, that it can get rid of a lot of the shakiness that we might have when we're shooting 4K yet we're doing 60 frames per second, so we get a very nice, we still get a nice sharp image. So that's what we have there. Again, it's I think this is doing a really good job. I do like the color depth on this. I like the image stabilization. It's not perfect, but it is something. I have flown it on a quadcopter. It did a pretty darn good job. I flew it, obviously with no gimbal, and the electronic image stabilization did a pretty darn good job. So there you go. That's a good example of the Nikon KeyMission 170 out here in our shop. And if anybody needs a prototype mold built for a plastic part, we'll do that for you. We make small plastic parts for a lot of different industries. If you know anyone that needs a prototype part or a production part, we can do that here at the facility. Put a comment down below if you need a mold. We've got a lot of equipment to build molds. We build all kinds of molds for aerospace, automotive, a lot of different industries. So there you go. There's the KeyMission 170.